It's a nice one. I want to see.
What?
Oh my God. Yeah, baby. Hey guys, what's up? It's Brian here, PNW Daily, getting ready for the fall salmon season on the Nooksack River. And if we can get ready for it on the Nooksack River, you can take all of the things I'm telling you for that river and apply them to your local river, because they mostly usually apply. All right, so a lot of folks, when they come into a fishing shop, they get intimidated. They don't know what any of this stuff does. They don't know what any of them are meant for. They are not just put up here in a hodgepodge manner. They are actually organized in a very kind of easy way to understand if you just kind of look. Right here, you can see we've got different writings on there. Look at that. Even make it better for you. Trout, panfish. Little tiny rods are for trout. What's up, bud? Trout rod. Now, you can see these are ultralight, but they're really long. Those are kokanee rods. Or you can also use those for trout too. But kokanee rods are a lot softer than trout rods because they have a softer mouth. And if you use a trout rod on a kokanee and you like to horse things, you could have a tendency to rip the lure and rip their lip and actually break their jaw. So that's why a lot of guys use really soft, specialized kokanee rods. So you'll see kokanee, kokanee, kokanee. But sometimes they'll even tell you salmon, but it doesn't tell you that this is not a salmon rod that you would cast from the shore. That is a trolling salmon rod for a downrigger, and that's where guys really get lost. Always look for the writing on the side. So when you look on the rod, you want to look that little spot right there. It'll tell you 9 foot, moderate action. You could only throw a 3/8 ounce weight with it. That's the most important rating right there. Not the line rating, the lure rating, because that is what you're doing with it. The line rating, that's just about the eyelids, how fast the line leaves. This goes up to 3/4 ounce. That one goes up to 1 ounce. That means you cannot exceed 3/8 ounce on your lure, 3/4 ounce on that rod, or 1 ounce on your lure on that rod. We do have some bigger ones. That one goes up to 2 ounces. So all of these rods have different uses. Those are all spinning rods. Now, how do I know this? Well, one of the easiest ways on a spinning rod is this right here. This little section right here. Now, these are not spinning rods. Do you see the difference? See, this has the hook. All right. So if you want one for trolling, you got a downrigger on a boat, got a new boat, this is the rod right here. It's an 8/6. It's meant, that's like your typical downrigger size. Any longer than that can be a pain. Any shorter than that, well, it depends on what you're doing. This goes up to 2 ounces. So if you wanted to, you could drop 2 ounces of lead rather than using a downrigger. But you cannot plunk with these unless you just want to use a 2 ounce diamond weight. So the typical setup for, like if you're going to plunk for coho or sockeye, is to use a 3 ounce pyramid weight and sand shrimp. Well, you're not going to be able to do that with this rod. So then you would come over here. Now this is the section here. Guys, they look at this thing and they get intimidated and they don't know. So these, even though they don't have the hook, oh wait, no, that's a spinning rod there. You can see because it has that eyelid. Now these also don't have the hook, but these are trolling rods. Do you see the difference? So if you can't tell by the hook, you'll look here. All right, now you know. And so all of these rods, these are Shimano's, this is a Daiwa, this is an Akuma. They all have different uses. These are all, it's like 9 foot rods here, 8/6 rods. And this one here, it'll tell you, you know, it's meant for downrigging. These are also meant for downrigging, but if you look right here, One thing that's missing right here, they got the line reading, they've got no weight restriction. So if you wanted to drop 12 ounces of lead because you want to go down to 120 feet, this is the rod to do it. Same with the wilderness rod. So if there's no lure limitation on here, that's the rod that you're going to want to drop some heavy stuff, and you don't have to have a downrigger to get down where the fish are. Now, these right here are super lightweight 9-foot rods. It also does not have a lure restriction on there, but I can tell you that the lure restriction on that one is 1 ounce. Because, or 3/4 ounce. That's the Solilo equivalent. And see, they're about the same. I really would not exceed 3/4 on that one, but a lot of these Solilos will be 1 ounce restrictions. It's harder to tell, but see how thick that is? It's about comparable to that. So I would say that's probably a 3/4 or a 1 ounce limitation. This one is a connoisseur, it'll tell you. Okuma always tells you. If it doesn't have the rating on there in Okuma, that means there's no weight class for the lure. That's just line. That's just the diameter of the line. So if you're using braided, that line rating right there really doesn't matter at all. All right, so this connoisseur, as you can see, it's got the hook. That means as an 8/6, that's a trolling rod. I mean, you could cast out with a bait caster, but with that big, thick handle, I don't know if I would. Spinning version of the same thing. Solilo. You see, a few of these we got marked for specialty things. This would be a great one if you wanted to go to Baker Lake and use this rod on a downrigger for some sockeye. Then there's SSTs, and you can see this one's a lot thicker. So what is that? I can't read that, can you? It goes up to 1 ounce. So that's a nice one for drifting. That's perfect for drifting the Nooksack. They're on a 1 ounce banana weight. You can mooch a Dick Knight from a boat, or you can cast it across the river from the bank. That's a perfect rod. Then you got the carbon fiber handles. These are all the same as these. This is the only difference, all right? A lot of guys are like, what's the difference? User preference, that's it. It's a nice one. I want to see. What? Oh my God. Yeah, baby!